Let's see, we are now live. Okay, good evening again, everybody. It's Marcus Harris here, Marcus the Money Man here again with my brother Tavante Hughes. Figure out which side you're on.
How's it going, everybody?
All right. Well, hey man, let's get into it. So we come each and every week with different topics and we discuss based around small business funding and strategies, just business in general. So today's topic, and I think it's a good one, the actual business plan. Do you need a business plan or not? So I know we started a little bit, and I want to pump our brakes on our conversation because it seemed like it was going to be good.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it's short. Devontae, you got a business plan for your businesses, man?
No, I do not have a business plan. And I think, we may be on the same page as far as this conversation of whether to have one or not to have one. It's not, I think a business plan is very beneficial. It definitely can help you dig through some questions. Usually they give you about 40 to 100 questions. You ask these questions, you kind of fill out your idea what you want to do. I think that's great and dandy. I think it's also important just to get to action. Get to action and start doing it. You don't need to do too much thinking about what it's going to be and how it's going to, because the business is always going to be evolving and changing. Things you won't be able to account for. You won't be able to answer that in the business plan because you don't have any experience yet. And I'm not saying, again, don't do any planning. You have to have the basics, you know where your customer's coming from, you know what the source of income is going to look like, you know what the kind of need is going to look like in that venture, and then you know your resources you can leverage and you can use, and you kind of know what skills you had to bring to the table. And you can say, okay, I can see this definitely working, and then it's more I've actually working the plan out and making sure it works,
And like you said, we agree. For my current businesses, I don't have a business plan. I've done them before in the past too. And it's my opinion that when you're really putting together one of those business plans, you're looking at a business that you don't know may work or not. So you, like you said, you're looking at what your target audience is going to be, where you're going to be marketing at, your different stakeholders, things like that, resources, putting it all together, where you're going to get your money from, et cetera, et cetera. It's important, but if you're doing, even if you have that business plan and you start taking action within your business, it's not an operation plan.
Yeah. Ooh, that's good. That's good. Really good. That's really good.
And so for me, a business plan is to show somebody this is what I do. This is how we function within the market space. But the thing that breaks businesses down, in my opinion, is they don't have an operational plan. They don't have SOPs in place. They don't know what they're doing. They're winging it. In a business plan, you can waste time. People pay people to write a business plan, which baffles me to death because you're paying somebody else to tell you about your business.
Your business.
So I don't know, you're hiring one as a CEO or operations director. I don't know, but yeah, business plan, in my opinion, is not an operational plan. It's not a marketing plan. It's just a high level on that kind of talks about what you do in business. So
I think that's real good, Marcus, because you're talking about, I think we're probably saying the same thing but different way. I'm talking about getting into action, started doing, and then realizing that, with this supplier, there's this process. That's how I do business with them. With this customer or whatever, there's this process, right? What you're saying is taking that to another level and putting in the actual standard practices of the business, how everything is done so that everything is functioning the same way.
Yes. Yeah, and I think people get, because there's different levels, right? And you need to start at some space and then kind of navigate till you get to the point where you're writing out, operating procedures.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're gonna spend so much time wagging your tail and creating a business plan itself that's not gonna go to anybody, then that could be time, like you said, put into action.
Yeah.
Um, Now, as far as putting things into action, from your experience, what are some of the pitfalls you can look out for, or that everybody should be aware of?
So, I mean, I think sometimes it depends on what kind of venture you're going into. There's a venture, I think, I don't know who said this, but I liken every business idea to a type of language. Like any business venture that I'm getting into, there's going to be terminology and language using that I may not have. So I would say one of the pitfalls is just looking stupid along the way because you're trying to speak a language that you don't know how to speak just yet, and that, I think that makes people uncomfortable. That idea that they're talking language, I don't know what they're talking about, but it's a perfect opportunity to learn too. So you can kind of learn it on the go versus trying to build up the knowledge, then go and apply that knowledge. You could kind of be doing a little bit of both. You get your basic things together, you start your business, right? And then you go have the conversations with the people and professionals, and you just take note of what they're saying. And you can learn on the go, oh, this is this acronym they use, this is what that meant. I need to be concerned about this in this venture, So that's just one of mine.
Now, that's a good point too. And it could be the opposite too, right? It could be, somebody who's been in the industry and they decide to break off and do their own thing, start their own business. So they understand the lingo, but they don't understand how business actually works, or
exactly
how that particular business works in their particular space. How to price, how to win, clients, customers, things of that nature. They could be good producers, and I think that's where the action will really show your faults and show what you don't know. And that's where you start to, once you start taking those actions, you start to document those things that you didn't know, and you compile them with the things that you do know. And now you're really putting together an operational plan.
That's like so crucial, Marcus, so crucial.
So, but yeah, business plan. Yeah, that was a good one, man. So there's a couple other things too, man. When it comes down to like planning for business, action always trumps. It's always trumps. Action always trumps writing down, or just what do you call it? Analysis paralysis.
Analysis paralysis. That's a good one. Yeah, really good one.
All day. I'll give you a good example. I sat and I watched videos a few years back over and over about wholesaling properties constantly. And man, I had it down. I'm like, I know how to do this. I know this deal. And then when it came down to it, it's like, okay, where are the properties? I knew how theoretically how to get in front of people, but I hadn't taken action. So, I felt like, hey, I was so prepped up, 5 months of prep. And then, 3 months of where are the actual people?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. The action steps that weren't taken. And, even when I started getting in front of people, having conversations, going out for visits, I wasn't documenting how I did it. Yeah. So, and me being who I am, it was like, that was a major flaw. It's like, okay, I know I usually document everything that I do. I walk around with a book. So I keep these on me all the time. I write down everything, processes, things like that. And it was just kind of weird because I was outside of my realm. And man, so in that case, a business plan would not have helped me at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
At all.
Yeah. I was telling you about my example of like getting to that place where in a business you'll have ebbs and flows. And it depends on if you start the business really excited on like you think I want to get this done, you're really serious and you're focused, things usually flow for you. And then at some point in time, I think we all get to the point we get to that point of analysis paralysis because the flow is stopped up and we're looking for that next thing to keep us going, that next yes, that next, or we can do this or whatever it is to keep the momentum going in your business. And when you don't see that sometimes, then you get into that point of, well, what should I be doing right now? Should I be doing nothing? Should I be doing this? And sometimes doing something is actually worse than doing nothing. Sometimes doing nothing is a really good thing, and I think that comes with the feel and flow of the business when you can understand kind of like where you are, like you personally, because I don't know if you feel this way sometimes, Marcus, but I always feel like my business is me. Like it's totally me. It's all my insecurities, it's all my confidence, it's all the things I'm good at, it's all things I suck at, it's all those things, right? So sometimes I need to just take a break, you know, relax. And sometimes I need to look and say, okay, well, this isn't moving. What else could I be using this time for? Instead of focus on what's not moving, where can I put my attention to something that's, something needs to be done. And then I have a conversation with my admin, and I find all these things that could be getting done right now as we get ready for that next thing we're ready for to open up. So yeah.
Do you think it's just a matter of delegating, or is it just like, it's just your reset where you are?
What you mean to know what that is, whether you're supposed to be moving or not moving?
Yeah.
I think I think it starts first with like recognizing what we truly want to happen. Because we start a business with this pie in the sky idea, right? And then reality hits, whether it be we don't have the resources to do something, the things we want to do, or the time and people in there, right? And I think it's always keeping in mind that pie in the sky ideal can't happen. It may just take processes, right? So I first started with something, and then maybe that's not moving in that direction. I go back to my original, because sometimes we settle. We'll say, well, I can't do this, I'll do this, and we'll settle, and it just don't flow. And so it gets back to the idea of what I truly really want. Well, what I truly want for my business is a business that is clean in processes, that's seamless and has great customer service, that people know and understand, like the culture of the job, and they feel comfortable working with me, and I feel comfortable with them. Right? So these are like my ideals for my business. And so that goes into the processes too. Well, how do those processes align with doing that? How does the process allow for communication? How does the process allow for mistakes? How does the process allow for just clear communication about what to do and what should be done? Back to those standard operating procedures, right? So like it goes back down to that. Just looking, okay, what do I really want? Does the process align with that? And if things are not moving, maybe I need to work on those processes.
Now, do you share or create like a mission statement or a vision statement and share it?
Yeah, I did. Actually, that was one of the first things I really enjoyed doing. And it's funny, go back to business plans, right? When that business plan has been created, it's not nothing. It's just kind of an ideal, right? You're not really doing anything. But after you spend time building into a business, investing money, you got your skin in the game, and you go and you write that mission plan, it hits a little bit different, because you really start to be focusing on like, how do I want to be a breath of fresh air in this structure of business, right? Or whatever this is, right? How do I want to separate myself from people? How do I want to be in a position where I don't have to worry about competition? How do I want things to feel when employees work for me and they're talking to me? How I want things to feel and look, and that really comes back to your business kind of being you and you speaking from that place.
And see, that's man, it encompasses so much. Like, and what I'm hearing is like your why is mixed up in there. Why are you? I was part of a mastermind group, and we kind of constructed our vision statements. And, part of that was thinking about your why. And you're right. This was my why. But then my vision statement, when you compare it to my why, wasn't necessarily aligning. And funny enough, I went to the appliance conference when I missed the video 2 weeks ago. That was one of the topics was, what is your why for running an appliance company, being in this industry? And, just thinking, for me, it's the challenge of it. So it's not necessarily that I love washers and dryers.
Right.
I do like electronics. I love electronics. I love how they integrate. I love how they've been advancing. But I'm not one to say, okay, I'm going to go out and find the latest and greatest washer. I'm not looking at it. But anyway, long story short, the why it's the challenge. And I feel like that fits inside of my vision statement. And it also fits with the culture of the people that I like to surround myself with. Because in doing this type of thing, you're going to be challenged with different types of failures. So you kind of need that. So in short, it just kind of aligns itself naturally.
Yeah. That kind of why I hear you saying you like the game of it. The game of running the business, the game of creating processes and making sure they're efficient. The game of having happy customers and seeing the byproducts of that, cash flow. So I agree. I'm also in the same. I love the game of creating something that just works really well. People are happy and proud to be a part of, and I'm proud that I created it. It's just it's a cool thing to create.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, man. But what are outside of when you're starting a business, what are a couple things that you think about when you're starting up your business?
Number one, I'm thinking about financing off the bat. I'm thinking about how much money I'm going to make, how much money is going to cost me to make that money. I'm thinking about resources that I have to do that. I'm thinking about, do I actually want to do this thing that it is, right? Yeah. I may not be excited. Like I got to find something excited about it more than the money, There's got to be more than money to make me do something. I got to be really able to get behind it, and what's the reason why I'm standing behind it? Going back to that why statement, right? Like, why is that so crucial to me? That why really actually holds everything together. And from that point, it's just like, if it makes sense. And the last thing I realized I like to do now, how much effort, I take that in context too now, how much effort it's going to take me to do this? Is it a complicated process, complicated business structure, hard to understand, take me years to master it? Or I weigh the pros and cons and say, how efficient is it? And bringing all these things are important to me, plus the cash flow, and how much risk or how much, how far I got to stick my neck out, If I can stick my neck out really, really short and get all the benefits, of course I want to do that because it's easier.
And man, it's funny you bring up cash flow too. And a lot of people, man, when you think of running a business, you think of making the money. And I want to bring this up too, because depending on where you are, you may have a delay in your receivables.
Yes.
It may cost you X amount of dollars to produce a product, get ready for a service, etc. And when you get paid for when the service is rendered, and when the bills are due, or the payroll's due, or whatever's due, a lot of people don't take that into consideration, and they run into actual cash flow problems. That's one of the things goes back to the first one is the funding. right? Understanding how much access or how much capital you have access to, and being able to manage your business's cash flow by understanding what's available to you would, for one, it makes a lot of things easier because running the business, you already got to worry about, clients, employees if you have them, outsource vendors that you're, outsourcing stuff to. So you don't want to compile or pile up running short on cash.
Oh yes, you
The
don't want to
mix
do
of
that.
that fire, you
Yeah.
know. Um, and because when I think about starting a business, I think about the pluses, the minuses, the dollars. What is
Mm-hmm.
first thing I look at is what does the market look like
Mm-hmm.
for this business? You know, the market for starting an appliance repair business versus starting an HVAC business in Bakersfield, California, was just slightly better, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
because of less competition. Now, that doesn't mean that the HVAC market isn't ready, but it means to me that going into an area where there's less competition and you have a strong marketing plan, you'll be able to start having cash flow immediately. you
Right.
know, um, but yeah, it's a few things where you look at. I have standard things where I look at building marketing plans, um, putting together the foundation for your operational plans. That's important because you'll never know until you start doing it. You got to do it a little bit first and then backtrack and document. Funding is always that's always one at the top. But budgeting, I'm really big on budgeting. So at the end of the day, if you don't make any money, it's a hobby, and you won't be doing it for a long because everybody has to eat.
Very true.
So what you bring in versus what you owe has to be more.
It does.
And it has to be able, and what's left after everything is done has to be enough to support your own livelihood, you and your families, right? So that's what I look at when I look at businesses, starting a business and doing different ventures and stuff like that. So,
Yeah. That money problem, having that ability to have money to sustain your business while you're growing, because you're right, sometimes there is a period of time where you're not getting any money, and you have to have access to funds to still do all the things that may be needed at that point in the business. Like for instance, I have an admin, I have to pay her, and I sometimes, like I said, with my broker, they're not ready yet, so I'm not getting any money right now. But because I have access to funds, I'm still able to pay her, and I'm not worried about money.
yep.
It's the whole different feel.
You got access to funds, you have it budgeted,
Exactly.
and you got everything set up.
Exactly. It's a whole different feel when you're using your own money and you're actually using other folks' money and you're leveraging that. It's a whole different game.
Yeah. Well, hey man. Well, anything else to add on today's topic?
No, I think it was a great topic, great conversation. It's just about I think these are real conversations that need to be had because most folks have a lot of misconceptions about what they have to do in order to start a successful business. And sometimes the traditional pathway of starting a business plan may not be for you. Maybe it is for you. I think we've talking about other uses of your time and
Mhm.
energy you could be doing, and that would be more beneficial for you. Uh, but yeah,
Well, hey man, definitely another good week. And you're right. I think like this topic probably would have been good for like some Q&A. So
yeah,
people can
definitely.
join in and ask some questions because I know I get to talking about certain things and saying certain things. It's like, if you start doing something that you do all the time, um, you may say something and go over people's heads. So hopefully people don't miss the nuggets, the gems that were put out there. But definitely, if you have questions, you can comment in the video here. We'll respond to you. If you know were if you have a business plan and you know want somebody to look at it, fine, we can look at it, and then also too we can give you the extra support that you need to and advice to start to put it in action, because it really is more important than the actual plan. So when you're done with the plan, it should clearly say, are you going to make some money or not,
Yeah,
and how you're going to do it. And but the action will, you know, override any of that prior. So
exactly.
okay.
Exactly.
But yeah, definitely you want to reach out to us. Website, reifinancialgroup.com. That's reifinancialgroup.com. So we're REI Financial on Facebook and Instagram. So you can reach out, send us a message. But if you do want to see what you're qualified for, just go to reifinancialgroup.com, click on the Get Funded, answer a couple of questions, and you'll see whether or not you fall in the category. We'll look at your information. Devontae, schedule a call with Devontae, and he'll gladly sit down and kind of talk with you about where you stand. You want to talk quickly about what you do during that 10-minute meeting?
Yeah, yeah. So basically, I'm looking at is all the uh, our the loans that we have available. We have each have qualifications that each person will have to meet. So I'm looking at those basic standard ones, and then once we figure out what those standard ones are, then hoping that the client to figure out what their options are based on where they are. So if they have a lot of traffic through their checking account, they have a lot of revenue moving, and they have a really good pool of customers, MCA may be a good thing for them. And then we can talk about what an MCA is, how MCA works, so they can make the best decision for them. That's what I'm here to do. And so then we look at other options. We may look at some credit card stacking and look at the benefits of that. We may look at a business line of credit, look at the benefits of that. And they're already they already know which ones they could be a good candidate for. It's just talking about them, figuring out which one they feel comfortable and most confident moving forward with. And then we'll go from there. We'll get the documentation together, have you applied, and get you approved as soon as possible.
Okay. Well, hey, once again, thank you, Devontae. Till
No
next
problem.
week.
Thank you, Marcus.
Yeah, good one.
Peace.